Well, what of UKIP's chances in next month's European elections? While Nigel Farage's party is favourite to win the most seats across the UK, in Scotland it's a very different picture, where they've so far failed to make any electoral impact. The man who hopes to change that is the party's lead Scottish candidate for the European elections, David Coburn, who joins us now here in the European Parliament. David, thanks very much for joining us. What's your message to voters?
Well, basically, the only party in Scotland which is anti-European Union that wants to get us out is UKIP. The Conservative Party certainly don't. Cameron has promised referenda. He's not delivered. He's highly unlikely to do it. People simply don't believe him. And most voters, Conservative voters in Scotland, will be voting UKIP simply because of that. They're also very worried about all these environmental things like windmills, which the Conservatives have been backing as well. Mr Cameron's hugging of huskies and all that sort of nonsense. It devalues the price of their property, it ruins the Scottish countryside, destroys the tourist trade, and they don't work. And they put the price of electricity up for poor people.
Nigel Farage has been on television tonight making the case for pulling out of Europe. That's a message that's popular in England, but you have almost no support in Scotland.
Well, I don't believe that at all. 26% of people in Scotland want to be out of the EU and in the Union. And that's been proved by many polls.
But 26% don't support you, David.
Well, I think you're wrong about that, because we've had a massive improvement in our party. We've changed the running of it, the leadership in Scotland. We made sure that we're doing better things. And when polls where we need 9–10% to get myself elected.
In the latest opinion polls, you had 6%.
No, that's nonsense. We had 12 to 14%, and Ipsos Mori had us at 17%, which I think is probably excessive.
ICM, you're put at 6% in Scotland.
Well, all polls are different things, but quite frankly, there's also an awful lot of people in Scotland who are not saying what they're voting for. If you see the threats the Scottish nationalists put on Barhead Travel when the director there suggested that people should vote against the separation for Scotland. Look what happened. He was flopped by the cyber Nazis or cyber Nazis, whatever you want to call them. So people are not saying what they're going to vote for, but they are.
The perception is that UKIP is a party of predominantly English voices.
There's a perception by the Scottish press who have a vested interest in that.
So simply failing to resonate in Scotland?
I don't believe that's the case. We have got a lot of support in Scotland. Our membership has rocketed, and there's Farage mania breaking out in Scotland.
You've never saved your deposit in a by-election in Scotland, less than 5%.
Well, that's because we haven't been pushing hard enough. And what's happening now is we've got a new team in Scotland. We're doing it the way we've been doing it in the south. The message has been spreading north. We're taking, very close to taking Labour seats in the north of England, and we are taking a lot of Labour support in Scotland, people who are worried about wage compression with immigration, people taking their jobs, reducing their wages, and also threats to the National Health Service, all that sort of thing. If we need nurses for the health service, why aren't we training our own nurses and doctors? Why are we stealing from third world countries who need them and train them at their own expense? Why should we be stealing them? We used to export doctors and nurses to this country.
You mentioned immigration, and that's an issue that wins you support in England, but it doesn't play as much in Scotland.
Well, I think it does. Let's put it this way. The press in Scotland have wanted to play it down, especially the establishment parties and also the BBC. And to a degree, I think STV have wanted to play it down. But that's not the case. People are worried about immigration in Scotland. A lot of people coming here. And Mr Salmon keeps saying he wants more and more people. He wants to fill the Highlands with Pashtun warriors and ex-Afghan warlords. I mean, the one beauty of the Highlands is they're not filled with people. I mean, if you want that, you go and live in East Kilbride. It's a lovely place, full of people.
OK, David Coburn, thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening. Well, we're taking another short break, but stay tuned. In a few moments, we'll be joined by STV's political editor, Bernard Ponsonby, and other political commentators from across the continent.